Hey, it's Styles from Brand Content Studios. Here's your Content Marketing Quickie for the week of December 10th, 2019. Let's learn about the click-through rate, or CTR, of your videos. I'm assuming if you went to the trouble and expense of making videos, you'd want them to generate some stats that show they were worth making. I could be wrong about that, though. I'm always amazed at what corporations don't care about. How do you get your CTR? Well, if your video gets 1,000 impressions and 100 clicks, your click-through rate is 10%. And congrats on that, because 5,000 hours of video get uploaded to YouTube every, are you expecting me to say day? Nope, every minute. Why do you want a good CTR? Because, as Social Media Examiner points out, if you don't have one, YouTube won't suggest your video to anyone. They'll decide it's not worth their users' time. Not too cool if you have a fragile ego. And here's something you really need to know so you don't beat yourself up too badly. Your video doesn't get any CTR credit if it's viewed embedded on your website or social channel, or through an end screen, or through a push notification. I know, so unfair, right? What will get you a good CTR is if you get a burst of clicks in the first 48 hours of posting, if the viewer watches a lot of the video, and if after that they watch another one of your videos. Now, if you want to know if you're normal, about half the videos and channels on YouTube have a CTR of 2 to 10%. Here are some suggested ways to make sure yours are on the upper end of that. Zero in on your niche. You'll get fewer viewers at first, but they'll be relevant, which will help you get better CTR through search later. See what keywords the competition is using. Not too unlike website SEO research. Don't make your titles too broad or general, and make sure the video delivers what the title promises. Promote and be patient, because it takes around 9 months for your niche title to start sticking for broader search terms. And don't underestimate the importance of thumbnails. Sure, you can follow best practices that you've read about, but then you'll look like everybody else. You'll blend right in. You want to break through like a rock through a Tesla truck window. Hey, you know how at the last 9 conventions and conferences you went to, you heard multiple people pontificate at length, keeping you from your delicious box lunch, about how huge personalization is going to be from now on? How you better start worrying and obsessing over that? Yeah, well, Gartner predicts 80% of marketers will actually stop investing in personalization over the next 5 years. What? Why? Well, no ROI and rising data privacy management issues. That's why. Now, it is just a prediction, so all the convention rock stars shouldn't race out and change their decks quite yet. But how do you do personalization in a way that drives worthwhile revenue increases if you can't get or apply the data that drives it? Omar Oakes reports that in addition to that, some attempts at personalization in the UK recently led to nothing but public relations disasters. Adidas bailed on a campaign where Twitter users were making customized Arsenal shirts because, as you would sadly expect, the creations were often highly offensive. Walkers let Twitter users upload pictures that would show them standing with a famous sportscaster, who, of course, started showing up with tyrants, murderers, and disgraced entertainers. So apparently the human race is now too sick, twisted and sarcastic overall to allow user-generated content. But even when you talk about targeting someone by name, based on location or action, and prior purchases or online shopping habits, you may as well drive around playgrounds in a white van, because that is creepy. Many marketers who are being honest with themselves see real problems ahead for data collection, protection, and integration. Oh, but Gartner didn't stop there. They're also predicting negative times ahead for influencer marketing, another thing we've urged caution about on this podcast. It's rife with complications and authenticity issues. So Gartner thinks by 2023, influencer marketing budgets will drop by a third. Charles Golvin is a senior analyst at Gartner for marketers and said, "Personal data's long been the fuel that fires marketing, and the drive to find new forms of fuel and devise new ways to leverage them seems to be boundless. However, this quest has failed to meet marketers' ambitions and, in some cases, has backfired." Well, gee, maybe Gartner just woke up on the wrong side of the bed. Do they think marketers will invest in anything in the future? Yes, they do. And that thing is behavioral science. They think it will be a very common full-time marketing role by 2022 and will facilitate huge advances in AI-led creative. Okay, if behavioral science is so smart, what am I thinking? You're right, what it would feel like to get kicked by a kangaroo. You might find articles like "Why Your Content is Failing" to be clickbaity stuff. But then later you think, why is my content failing? There's nothing wrong with trying to find out and correcting it, you know. To that end, let's summarize the reasons given to us by Juliet Stott at eConsultancy. Listen along with us and render yourself guilty or innocent of these things as we go. And do stick with us, because the last one is my personal favorite. No strategy. You just occasionally make stuff to say you did, and nobody even knows who it's for or what it's supposed to do. Rebecca Lieb, who used to be at eConsultancy, said, "A channel or campaign strategy is not a content strategy. Marketing doesn't exist without content, so content strategy matters." You can't hear it, but I'm cheering a little bit inside. Senior leadership doesn't understand or support it. It's generic, sounds just like everybody else, which, frankly, is not needed. It doesn't do anything, such as reinforce your brand message with your relevant audience. Maybe you didn't test it, so you're not learning what does and doesn't work. It doesn't ask the viewer or reader to do anything next. There's no CTA. And my fave actually comes from Joe Pulizzi, who says the main reason your content fails is because it stops or is sporadic. There was never a serious commitment to it. You need to invest in content creators who can keep delivering the goods. It's hard to find, but that talent is the whole ballgame. Lastly, but quickly, every once in a while we like to point out a story that illustrates the disconnect between what buyers want and what marketers think they want. So here we go again. Ray Schultz reports in MediaPost that it looks like B2B buyers prefer email over every other marketing channel. B2B marketers, however, say screw what they think. We say it ranks third in terms of what the most effective channel is. Episerver surveyed B2B prospects, and 43% told them they prefer to hear about companies through email. When they're researching products or services, 45% in the US and 51% in the UK want to do that through email. 54% of B2B leaders want brands to communicate more frequently by email versus other channels. And the way they want to communicate least is through phone calls. So if they sound grouchy when you call, that's why. All right, that's what the buyers want, but let's see what those who are marketing to them do instead. Because we are geniuses who don't need to know who our customers are or what they want. Marketers put paid search, the thing we've discussed a lot recently as being very, very suspect, at number 1. After that comes websites, preferably really, really big websites with pages and pages of repetitive information and navigation trees that put the Swiss Family Robinson house to shame. Then comes email marketing at 13%. That's the Content Marketing Quickie for this week. I researched some behavioral science and learned that if I just ask you politely to subscribe and tell your marketing friends about this podcast, you might. So I'm counting on that, and we'll be back next week.